Hey everyone, I wanted to check in with you now that we're about 3/4 of the way through the intersession. Tonight, Wednesday the 8th, the bibliography for the final project is due. Um, I wanted to just say a few things about that to give you some hints. First and foremost, remember that the final project itself that you'll be completing on Adobe Spark, that is an annotated bibliography for all intents and purposes. So there are some specific things that you need to put in your annotations. There are 3 different elements to each one. Please review that in the assignment instructions. But for the bibliography that's due tonight, you don't need to annotate anything. Please do use the citation method that you're most familiar with. So for example, if you are familiar with MLA, go ahead and use that, APA, and so on. If you're not familiar with the citation format, I've given some links in the instructions to Chicago style. That's the one that historians use. So it's my favorite, obviously. But I don't require everyone to learn it because historians are among the few disciplines that continue to use Chicago style. So the point is, please use a known style to format your bibliography to make sure that everything's in order. If you want to put it in alphabetical order, that's okay. Or if you want to do it in terms of the source types, because remember you have to have certain types of sources for this assignment, and I'll say more about that in just a second. You can group it that way. So for example, you could have a heading that says primary source, put the citation for that, then a heading that says academic secondary sources, put those citations, and so on. So again, that's kind of up to you how you want to do that. If you have questions or need any help, please don't hesitate to ask. Let's see, in terms of the source types, you need to have at least one primary source on your topic. Remember that those are sources that were created at the time of the events you're studying. So make sure that you're able to find something that was created sometime in the past, whatever the event is that you're studying, that are directly relevant to your topic and to your research question. If you're having trouble finding one of those, let me know and I'll see what I can do to help. There are a lot of resources that have been digitized now, so hopefully it shouldn't be too difficult to find a primary source online. So you can do a Google search, you can use other kinds of search engines. You can use the CNM library database, the SunCat OneSearch, although that will probably be better for academic secondary sources than it will be for primary sources. So academic secondary sources are those that are peer-reviewed. They're published in academic journals, or they are published by university presses. So for example, if you find a book either at the library or digitally on Google Books that is published by a university press, that will count as one of your academic secondary sources. You won't have time to read an entire additional book, but you should have a chance to get into it to look for the information that you need that relates to your particular research questions. Because you won't be reading the book in its entirety, Google Books is an excellent resource for you to use because most of the books that are there in the Google Books database have previews, meaning you can read a significant chunk of the book online digitally without having to check it out. That may just be enough for the purposes of this assignment and of this project. Otherwise, you need to have a couple other secondary sources. Those can be things that you find online, blog posts, other types of articles that are not peer-reviewed, and so on. Lastly, I included a requirement to have social media posts. Social media, of course, includes anything ranging from Twitter to Facebook. Sorry, I got a notification myself, so I was distracted there momentarily. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube can be considered social media because it has the comments feature. So anything that kind of generates the comments and that social aspect is a social media source. The reason I'm asking you to do that, it's not because those are particularly good sources necessarily. Although they could be. I mean, the social media conversations can be robust. They can link to excellent information about historical topics, but they don't always. The point is to see, are people saying things about my topic on social media? If so, what are they saying? Does it match the other sources that I've found? Or are people sort of out in left field in terms of what they're talking about? If you find that there aren't really any social media conversations about your particular topic going on, just make a note of that and just say, I couldn't really find anything that was worthwhile on social media, and that's okay. The point is just to look and see if that is something that's going on relative to your topic. Okay, so again, for tonight, the bibliography is due. The next step, the final step that's due Sunday by noon, will be to complete the project on Adobe Spark. If you have any questions about how to do that or what elements are needed, don't hesitate to ask, and I will talk to you soon.